Well, hello,
Hello, hello.
and welcome to Morning Musings. I'm Kathryn, and this is Rachel. And together we are two life coaches that spend a lot of time helping people untangle the messes life tends to throw at us.
Every week we're grabbing a cup of coffee and we're talking about the patterns, habits, and coping mechanisms and downright weird things that we humans do that keep us stuck. If you've ever caught yourself saying things like, "Why does this always happen to me? Why does God hate me?" That was used to be one of mine. You are in the right place.
All right. And we were just discussing before we hit the record button what to talk about, and we kind of thought we'd shoot from the hip today because we're both just tired and in a mood. So,
Yes, actually, we spent the day putting each other off for various reasons. Things kept getting in our schedule, and I felt like I was walking through mud all morning. And I think everybody, and I told Catherine, I told you, I woke up with the ick brain, and like who hasn't woken up with the ick brain? And
right.
like, what's the ick brain sound like to you?
I guess for me, it kind of just goes like the first time I drop something in the kitchen, I go, oh, so this is the day we're gonna have.
Yes, and so for me, it sounds like, especially right now, I'm getting up, I'm doing a hike every day, and then I'm going to CrossFit. And sometimes I just get up and I think, oh, why bother? Why am I even trying to hike the Colorado Trail? It's a preposterous thing. And I mean, I can be on the Colorado Trail as much as anybody, but for some reason, then I kind of try to psych myself out. Now, I haven't, this is where discipline, a lot of people talk about, I don't know how you stay so motivated. And so the subject matter today is entitled, I Don't Have Time, and
Mm.
other falsehoods we tell ourselves.
Right, right. I just
Uh,
don't have time or I
yeah,
can't do it.
I can't do it, or I don't have time. And I don't have time is often a it's a it's a thing that keeps us safe from actually doing the thing. So I can't. Many people need to be actually going to coaching, and the idea that I don't have time, but
Yeah.
all you have to do is look at your phone on Sunday and see what your screen time looks like, and
Right.
it'll scare you. It's not about having time, and one of the things that I've learned, especially while I've been planning this hike, is that um, motivation is a lie. It's a huge lie.
Yeah.
And I think that's why it had the whole industry has not worked. Remember when who was it? He died recently, and he had curly hair. Richard Simmons.
Oh, yes.
And he was a big motivation guru, and look, he impacted a lot of people's lives. But what we found out is that motivation is a lie. Motivation's an emotion. It comes and it goes, and it comes and it goes. And the truth, the only truth is discipline. And
Yes.
nobody likes to hear that.
Yeah.
Everybody hates the D word.
Yes. Everybody hates that darn D word.
Yes.
And that's something that most published authors will tell you, and pretty much every published successful author will tell you, is that if you wait for motivation to come, then you will never get that book written.
Exactly.
It comes down to you have to prioritize that time. And that's the difference between I don't have time or I can't do it versus is it really that you don't have time or are you just saying yes to something else and saying no to this?
Yes, because definitely, well, anytime, that's why when people learning the art of saying no is so important, because anytime we are saying yes to something, we are saying no to something else. And many times the no that we are saying is to our family. Uh,
Yeah.
um, it's I think it's important to understand that your family is not just an extension of you. If you are an overgiver or an overperformer or otherwise known as people pleaser, often what happens is you get home and you are depleted because you've said yes all day long, and your family gets what you get, which is exhaustion, the exhausted you, the you that said yes to everyone else, and now you don't have time to give your family energy.
Mm-hmm.
I often say we need to write the people who mean something to us. And I got this, I think it was Brene Brown who said, you ought to write the names of the people who mean something to you on the back of a postage stamp because there shouldn't be that many of them. And you shouldn't be more than you can fit on a postage stamp. These are the people who really matter to you. And, and then everyone else is a prospective no. And
Right.
that sounds very limiting, but it depends on what you want to accomplish.
Right. Right. Exactly. And so many of us have our lives now built on a reactive schedule rather than an intentional one. And so we're constantly reacting to what does our boss need from us? Where are we going to go eat? And I just want to sit down and scroll on my phone. And so we're just constantly reacting rather than being intentional and purposeful about
And
how we
planning.
are spending our time.
Mm-hmm.
And then notoriously we're waking up as we get older, we're waking up and realizing that we've missed so many important things in our lives.
Oh my goodness.
And
The
usually it
opportunity.
takes the death of someone we love dearly to wake us up and realize I didn't spend as much time with them as I wanted to. So, it's really important that we really take an audit on how we're spending our time. Look at our schedule, look at how we're spending our day. And like not in a judgmental way, but just kind of trying to step outside of ourselves and look at, how many games am I playing? How much TV am I watching?
Mm-hmm.
You know, why do I never have time to play with my child? Stuff like that. And then figuring out what actually is important to do and what's not. Get rid of the time wasters and then start putting in blocks of, okay, this is my time to work. I have to work to eat and pay the bills. But then soon as work is done, soon as I'm out of that block, then I'm moving into the block of family. And this is how I'm going to, in this block, spend time with my family. So, and being very intentional about, okay, I'm in family block time and then immediately pick up the phone and
Right.
start scrolling. You've got to
Yes.
be intentional about, okay, no, the phone goes on the me time if I want it. But
Right.
the family block time has to be where I'm not just uh aimlessly doing things. I need to be intentional about how am I going to spend time with my child? How am I going to spend time with my spouse? How am I going to spend time with my dogs? Whatever that looks like, what is my family time going to look like? I want to be intentional with my time with them.
Well, and I think too, it also begs for us to make a decision because, as you and I were discussing, I don't have time is rarely just about time. It serves as a stand-in for fear of actually trying something, fear of failure, because of course, failure is always a part of success. It's not the opposite of success. Overwhelm,
Mhm.
perfectionism, people pleasing, indecision, emotional exhaustion, or simply a lack of allowing a time margin. Some people are, my sister was really a very, as you know, intentional person regarding her time. And she has her time schedule every day is literally blocked in 15-minute increments. And those include time for her to transition from one thing to the next. But
Yes.
time becomes the socially acceptable explanation for deeper barriers that keep us from moving forward at all. So often this is a big subject because it just keeps coming up. Well, I don't have time.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's an excuse we use more often with ourselves than other people. And that's the tragic thing is like if Betty at the church asks us to bake, 3 dozen cookies, we're
There's those
more
cookies
likely,
again.
yeah, there's those cookies again. We're more likely to say yes to Betty and bake those cookies or at least try than we are to say yes to, well, I've been wanting to learn how to paint. Well, I just don't have
Yes.
time. I want to take up playing the accordion again. Well, I just don't have time for that. Whatever it is that your kid wants to go to the water park, we don't have time for that.
The accordion. Did you play the accordion?
I do,
I think it
yes.
was just so interesting that you brought up accordion. It was like, I don't know how many people play the accordion, but
Yeah, I keep looking at it in the
it seems
corner of
kind of
my,
random.
yeah, I keep looking at it in the corner of my living room collecting dust, and I'm like, I just don't got time for that, and I know better.
Yes, it's just a matter of picking it up, even if we spent 5 minutes with it.
Yeah.
Um, those are the things, anytime I get moving, even if I move in the direction of doing the thing, even if I spend 5 minutes on it, I have kind of kept a promise and I feel better.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the things that I had determined today was, if it hair lipped the Pope, and, God forgive me because I'm Catholic, but if it hair lipped the Pope, we were going to get these videos done today. Because and because it is about discipline, it is about showing up in a consistent manner.
And
Even if the time schedule kind of gets wonky, we still follow through. It's follow through. I had
exactly.
a boss, and actually it was at the city of Woodward, who dinged me on a on one of my evaluations for follow through. And it kind of stung. But the reality was he was right. He was absolutely right. My follow through was not good.
Yeah.
And it showed up in so many ways.
Yeah.
Um, Now looking back on it,
Yeah.
I get distracted. So distraction can, that's why, I think I sent it to you, that the little blocking schedule.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a Mary Kay thing that I got from Mary Kay. This is why it's always why I've been a part of Mary Kay, is because they have a great business coaching program. And that's really why I'm there. I mean, a few people buy a few things from me, but that's just kind of happenstance. I'm there because they have a great business coaching program. And twice a week. So
Yeah.
I show up to that because it keeps me managing my own business.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. I love that. And that's yeah, whenever we aren't blocking off that time and we're just having a reactive life and reactive schedule, then we are more likely to get distracted and to fill up that time block with things that really didn't matter in the grand scheme or could have
Mhm.
waited. And then we have terrible follow through. And then something I've come to see with some of my coaching clients in the past, well, even currently, is that lack of follow through starts to build anxiety. Your
Mhm.
your nervous system cannot handle it, that you are not keeping promises with yourself, that you're
Yes.
dropping the ball, that you're not getting the things done that you said. It builds a ton of anxiety, and then that anxiety gnaws away at your self-confidence.
Yes.
So, and
It
then if you
does.
don't have any self-confidence, you absolutely don't have any motivation to do anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Well,
it's a vicious
you've
cycle.
betrayed yourself.
Yes.
It's about self-betrayal. I mean, if what you truly say is true, you want to finish that book, or you want to finish that painting, or you want to get started on that painting, or you want to tackle that bedroom that has been dirty since the dawn of time, and where you the junk room, because this
Right.
was the junk room for the longest time and I really wanted to use it. for
Yeah.
this space, and I just did it. I just had to show up to it. And I showed up imperfectly, but I just
Yes.
showed up imperfectly every day.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think it opens the door when you hear yourself over and over and over saying, I don't have time. Ask yourself the just one question, and you're the only person whose opinion matters, but ask yourself and explore the question, is it really about time, or is it really about fear? Is it
Right.
really about guilt? Is
Yeah.
it really about perfection? I mean, emotional fatigue. Are you just exhausted? Are you
Yeah.
carrying responsibilities that aren't yours? Are you
Right.
doing things outside of you just to distract you from the things that you like? Taxes is a big thing for me, as you know. I'm a Van Horn. We all file extensions, and and I think it's just a part of what we learned growing up. But my mom, she filed it, I mean, right on time every year. But the rest of us Van Horns, no, we were putting it off, and it creates a great deal of anxiety. Once I sit down and start working on it, I just immediately feel better.
Yes.
So
Yes.
sometimes it's just giving yourself, even getting an egg timer or setting the timer on your phone. And because everybody's got a timer on their phone now, so
Yep.
just start the thing, whatever it is. If it's a room that looks like, something from Hoarders, just start by picking up, you start by picking up one thing.
One
Set
thing.
your timer for 10 minutes and work on it for 10 minutes.
Right.
I
And
mean,
I know that can be a really big struggle. Like, I tend to be, oh, I'm gonna clean this room, and then 2 hours later, I have the entire closet all over my floor because I saw something that needed cleaned in the closet, and then it led down a trail
yeah.
of now my room is even more messy than it was before. So, but whenever you kind of block off that time of, okay, instead of doing a giant task, it needs done, but I'll spend 15 minutes clearing off the dresser. And then I'll spend 15 minutes cleaning up the closet. And if you realize at some point that, okay, the closet just became a much bigger situation, then you can take a step back and look at, okay, what it can I do in 15 minutes? Okay, I can put the clothes on hangers. I'll do that,
Right.
and I'll organize the shoes and bags later. So, kind of just picking one thing inside the thing if you can, and narrowing it down to, I
Hmm.
have this time, what am I going to do with it?
I'm a member of a group of people called ADHD house cleaners,
Oh,
and
I
they're
need to be
very
on that.
helpful. They're very they're very helpful with just tiny little suggestions. And one suggestion is, when you get home, if you're getting home from work or whatever, if your intention is to do something, or if you're home, put on your tennis shoes or your shoes, your actual shoes.
Yes.
Because the second you take off your shoes, or if you're not a person who wears your street shoes, and have your house tennis shoes to put
Right.
on, and keep those on and do that work, because you will be more likely to keep working as long as your shoes are still on. And that helped me a great deal.
Yes. Yeah.
It also
That,
helped me to set a timer on my phone and say, look, I'm going to consider myself, changing your idea of success. If you're a perfectionist, you think, like you said, I'm going to go in and I'm going to do this room, and I'm still working on it a little bit, but this room didn't just a one day thing. It had tons of things in it.
right.
So,
Right.
and I'm still going through some of those boxes and throwing things away.
Yeah.
So,
And that's how, since moving into this house about 7 months ago, um,
mhm.
maybe 8 months ago now, um, I made a promise to myself that one box a week. I'm gonna empty out one box a week. It doesn't matter if it's a big one or a small one. It's gonna get emptied and thrown away. And so far, I've been able to maintain that pretty good. And that's been very easy to do because then I can realize as I am wont to do on Friday, that, oh, my week is almost up. I need to pick a box and I need to empty it. And of course, I moved through a lot of the smaller boxes first that way, but it's made it a lot easier for me to, whenever it is time to do a bigger box, I go, okay, I have the entire week to get this box emptied. And it's helping me not panic about it. It's helping me not stress about we're still living out of boxes, all of that. We're getting moved in and a lot faster than many people are used to people moving in. So,
Well, I just moved too. You and I moved almost right exactly at
yeah.
the same time, and then I was still dealing with, the bags and boxes from my father's stuff that I still
Yes.
had, and then of course my mother passed, so now I've got boxes of her things, and so it's really a matter of sitting down and doing some of that work,
Yeah.
and just giving myself one box.
Yeah.
Just I'm going to go through this box. That's the only thing that I'm going to do today. But if you do that in 7 days, you've gone through 7 boxes.
Right. Exactly. And it can be really hard to, if you're clearing out boxes that belong to a loved one, there can be a lot of documents to go through. There can be that grief that makes it really hard. You may spend 3 days crying over one box. Um, so sometimes that can make those a little bit harder, and that's where you give yourself that grace of, okay, you are emotionally exhausted at this point, you are grieving, see our previous grief video.
Yeah,
um
2 videos ago, or no, one
right,
video ago.
yeah. So but there's times to give yourself grace, but then like still keeping that promise to yourself.
hmm
So
Grace is keeping a promise to yourself. I mean, I can't think of anything worse than abandoning ourselves.
yeah,
And so when we are, so often, that's why I'm saying so often motivation gets the credit, but discipline does the work.
discipline does the
And
work.
so, and also motivation, looking at somebody, and people have said that to me, oh my gosh, I don't know how you got that done, or, wrote a book, or any of those things. You're just so motivated. It's a way of offloading, and I've done it. I mean, I look at the people that I am training with at CrossFit, and they are really working hard. I very well know that this has nothing to do with motivation. They drag in there with the same level of Monday morning itis that I drag in there with.
Right.
But they've done it and done it for years and years.
Yeah.
Some of them, 10 years.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
looking at 8 months of the benefit of the work, and they're looking at 5 years. Some
Right.
of them 25 years of the
Right.
benefit of the work.
And that's, I mean, if we want to talk about discipline and then grace, giving yourself grace, um, like that's a really good example. It would be a lot like I'm going to have different expectations and promises to myself than I'm going to set on my daughter, my 6-year-old. Like she has the same amount of time in the same day that I do. We have the
Right.
same 24 hours to work with. But because of where she's at in life, she is going to have a whole different set of things that she needs to do and how much of it she can do in a single day. Whereas I've got a whole different capacity for what I can do in the same amount of time. And so just being honest is being loving with yourself about what you can do. So, it may be you've like if you are in a hoarder situation, that's a good example.
Yeah.
So many times, whenever I've helped hoarders in the past, they get really overwhelmed with it's all got to get done today. No, it doesn't. You didn't build it all in one day. It doesn't all have to be fixed in one day. And it's going to hurt. It's going to be a
hmm
process. There's just so much of it that's going to suck, and you're not going to feel like doing it. but you're going to break it down into little bite-sized promises that you can keep to yourself so that you can build that discipline. So you're not going to promise to yourself that you're going to go hike Mount Olympus. Or
Exactly.
you are promising that you're going to go do this particular hike. It's
Yes.
within
Yeah.
your reach.
And then, yes, something that is that I'm not going to fail at. So yeah,
Yeah.
you exactly, you start with something that you can be successful with. And that is changing. When Sheila and I ran the half marathon, I thought I'm never going to be able to run 13 miles. But I did, and it was because she taught me what success looked like. And it was, I had to change my idea to train for that reliably,
Yeah.
because that's always been, it's the discipline to
Yeah.
train for something like that. But I was applying a bunch of perfectionism to that training. And so I
Right.
was like, okay, I'd run, one mile one day, and then I needed to do a mile and a half the next, and a mile. That's not what that training looks like. And then I would get discouraged if I did, because invariably you're very tired, and you don't want to hike any, I mean, you don't want to run anymore because you had a bad day. And then you don't get up. I just changed the idea of success and said, I'm going to be a success today if I put my shoes on and get on the trailhead.
Yeah.
And then
Exactly.
anything after that is bonus. And that was the promise I made myself. I'm going to put my shoes on and get on the trailhead. Anything that happens after that, if I turn around and come back to bed, and I did twice in that 8 months that I was training for the half marathon, it was because I was sick. So I
Hmm.
let myself, but I did, even though I was sick, throwing up sick. I put my tennis shoes on and I stepped out there on the trailhead. I kind of walked around in circles, puked a couple of times on my own, but I still stuck. It was important to me because believing ourselves is the most important thing we do.
Yes.
If we are not keeping promises to ourselves, it's no different than somebody, our dad or our mom or a spouse, to make promises to us that they break. And we feel really almost normal when we express our pain when somebody else breaks a big promise to ourselves, but we do it every day to ourselves. So for me, it's important to believe what I say to myself. So if that
Yeah.
means that I'm getting up and I'm doing a hike and I'm going to CrossFit, I do it. It's almost obsessive now because I have broken promises to myself before, and I am terrified of getting back in that habit.
Right. Right. Exactly. Don't want to be there because
No.
that sets your nervous system on fire. Nobody likes that.
But I'm
So,
still, when it back to the time question, because it really, I think it does mean that you have to ask yourself the question, do I really not have time? And I do think, excuse me, a good tool is your screen time.
yeah.
Everybody has it on their phone. Their phone notifies them on Sunday, this is the amount of time you have spent on the screen.
Yeah.
And that will scare you.
It will.
It
It
will scare
will.
you.
Yeah. The amount of time you spend on your phone can be very eye-opening to where all of that lost time is going.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Not to say that it's not okay to scroll for 20 minutes. I
right.
think though, set a timer.
Yeah.
I stopped scrolling so much and I'm doing a little more mahjong.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I'm still trying to get over my cough.
Yeah. Oh, and something that I've taken to doing is being intentional about my scrolling. So, I enjoy funny cat videos and dog videos as much as the next person, but I'm now, whenever I'm scrolling, I'm actively looking for people to interact with so that that can lead into them interacting with my stuff and like having
Right.
purpose, especially
Yes,
as I am trying to kind of build social media content and
exactly.
whatnot, or point them toward my friends' stuff. So there's been a long stretch where I have not done anything myself on social media, and I've just burnt out with it. But I want to help my friends. So I'm still using my scrolling time intentionally that way by finding people that I can interact with and point them toward some of my friends' stuff. So that at least
Now you
somebody
have
is getting a
now we
win.
have stuff.
Right, now we have
Be
stuff.
my
So,
my Mary Kay director Veronica Tenike says, "Be a content creator, not a content consumer."
yep, that's super important. And that you can apply that to so many different areas in life.
Yes.
So, all right,
Well,
we're about out of time.
we are
We
we're
are.
out of time.
I know we're out of time. This is one of those instances where that's a legit thing. So, as I said earlier, I'm Kathryn, with Okie Dokie Life Coaching, and then Rachel is with Mind Hike Coaching. So, if you feel like you kind of need help figuring out how to block time or whatever, how to get your time back and stop having a reactive schedule, this is something that we're both doing with ourselves as well as other people. So definitely hit us up, look at our socials, and everything should be in the description in the video. So, and then in the meantime, we will see you next time in the next
Yes.
video.
See you on the trail.
Yeah.